actually done in 2014, so that's been a long time ago. But this is a study that said disruptions of users focused on a task often leads to forgetting the as-left conditions, which affected 45% of testers, forgetting to return to the original task, which affected 25%, and slowdown of task completion. 3 things. And to be honest, to be perfectly honest with you, I was very, taken back, like surprised, like really? People forget where they left off when they encounter some sort of error message, but this is an error message just showing them, what they're doing, right? But apparently it is indeed the case, because all of a sudden, when you encounter an error message, it's like a blocker. In many ways, you can see it as a cat, right? Cat jumps onto the keyboard or whatever, and it demands all the attention on your end right away. And until you kind of fix it or kind of resolve it, you cannot proceed, right? But if you get stuck in this loop of trying to figure out what the problem is, then it's not very surprising that some people will be forgetting what they're actually doing in the first place. And of course, it's not the case in the checkout. Checkout is a simple flow, right? But if you're dealing with some sort of enterprise products where you have maybe very complex flows and maybe 5, 6, 7 pages that people have to go through and copy paste one thing from another screen here and there, it's not surprising to see people's productivity really going down. On the other hand, they might be forgetting to return to the original task, and obviously it does create a slowdown in task completion. Very helpful. That's always something I bring up. The other thing that's also helpful, right, is to think about disruption on its own. And this is a study from 2006. It's a bit older, but it says that when interrupted, users need 3 to 27% more time to complete tasks. They commit twice the number of errors across tasks, and have 2 times the increase of anxiety compared to tasks presented at the boundary between tasks. Now, here we're talking about disruption. And you could say, well, but unless the person sees an error, they are not disrupted, right? And you'd be right. Because in many ways, disruption could come from different places. It could be a new set of pop-up showing up. It could be a modal showing up or anything similar, right? The problem is if you show an error message too early, right, or too often, right, in many different places of the UI, this has a tremendous impact on productivity of a person who is going to complete their tasks, right? And this is what you should be expecting, not only more time on task, but as they see an error message first, they are likely to produce more errors across different tasks as they keep going. So we need to be just aware of this, right? Because it's not just, okay, we show an error when the error appears, and then we just keep going, and then there is an error, next error, and so on. Yes, but it can dramatically kind of escalate to the point that people will be just making mistakes or errors one after another, and to some point just abandon or maybe even complete the task incorrectly. So we need to keep that in mind. This is what's happening under the hood, right? So that's a little bit kind of a different story, right? But it's still valuable for us to understand.